Greetings and welcome to the Saco City Council meeting for Monday, October 19th, 2020. Call this meeting to order at 6:30 p.m. Let the record show that all councilors are present, including the city administrator. With that, we arrive at the Pledge of Allegiance. I'd like to ask everyone to join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. The flags are behind City Administrator Cainrath. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. With that, we are at the general portion of tonight's agenda, which, as a reminder, there is a joint meeting with the Saco School Board this Wednesday, the 21st, at 6:30 p.m. via Zoom with the Saco School Board. That is to take the place of the meeting that we didn't get in September per the charter. So we are having that meeting here in October. The next one will be in the month of December. With that, second on the agenda or under general is Halloween guidelines. And I know this was put out by the city, but just as a reminder, we've received many inquiries this month about Halloween. The city of Saco does not regulate Halloween activities such as trick-or-treating. We encourage you to look to the Maine CDC for guidance on all seasonal activities as we try to navigate the holidays safely. View their guidance here at www.maine.gov/DECD/checklists/seasonal-activities. The US CDC also has helpful information for the holiday season at www.cdc.gov/daily-life-coping/holidays at HTML. The Communications Department's happy to answer any local questions, but please defer to the Maine CDC for the most up-to-date health guidance regarding trick-or-treating and Halloween activities. Item C, voting reminder and polling location change. This was also put out and asked folks to read the important update regarding Saco's polling location on Election Day. On Election Day, November 3rd, 2020, all voting will occur at Thornton Academy's Linnell Gymnasium at 438 Main Street. Please take note that this is a change in location from previous elections. The polls will be open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic and staff limitations, voters will be separated alphabetically rather than by ward once they are in single polling place, Thornton Academy's Gymnasium. Happened during the primary this year, separated by ward. Thornton Academy to offer voters a large polling place that enables better social distances and provides plenty of parking with 2 lots available for use on Election Day. Using any of the methods listed www.saco.org/election. It's right on the home for the city of Saco, including absentee, by mail, by drop box, or hand delivered, or voting early in person at City Hall, 300 Main Street. As a reminder, the last day to request an absentee ballot in person is Friday, October 30th, 2020, unless a special circumstance exists. I understand many of us have received several questions surrounding is there going to be voting? City that in his city administrator report. And then the last make it onto the agenda, but it's worthy of putting out there is Age Friendly Saco is hosting another food distribution program this week as part of our 3rd round of the Farmers to Families program funded by the United States Department of Agriculture, the CARES Act. Distribution will take place Wednesday, October 21st, so this Wednesday, from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Saco Middle School, 40 Buxton Road, Saco. in their vehicles, and food boxes will be volunteers. They that come with 8 pounds of vegetables, 5 pounds of meat, 5 pounds of dairy, and each recipient will also receive fruit and a gallon of milk. Please contact Age Friendly Saco with any questions at agefriendlysaco@gmail.com or 207-710-5029, or visit their webpage at www.sacomaine.org/agefriendly. Thank you. That is all I have for general. At this point, we're at a 5 committee correspondence to council.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Just wanted to let everyone know that transits have arrived. About $1.5 million worth of 45 foot that are just amazing looking and brand. So anyone to commute from Saco starting around the 1st of November, you will have a new ride with brand new bus, Wi-Fi, all the latest electronics. Currently, the radios and electronic fare boxes and those kinds of things are being installed. So we're quite excited about that. We also had a meeting of several of us to discuss the installation of the electric charging stations for the 2 electric buses that'll be arriving next fall that will be behind the train station. So we may be reworking the back parking area of the train station to accommodate those buses as well as the conventional buses, and moving the buses that are currently out front to the back, and then providing the public with the front parking area and restoring that the way it was prior. So that's all.
Thank you, Councilor Minthorn. Any further committee correspondence to council? Moving on to public comment, item 6. City Administrator Kahnrath, have we received any public comment for tonight's meeting?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I have one item I'd like to read, if now is okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. This actually comes to Councilor Purdy, but he asked me to read it for public comment. This is from Cassie Kane of 350 Main. She writes, "Dear Councilor Purdy, I'm reaching out to voice my support for the city's open space funding for the students' None Such 8 land conservation project. I live in Saco at 96 Chattagee Road. I also work with 350 Main as their youth engagement coordinator. Through this, I work with Saco middle school students on projects relating to environmental and climate issues. I apologize for not being able to comment during the meeting tonight. Unfortunately, I have another call that overlaps with it. Firstly, I'd like to thank you for passing the Climate Emergency Declaration. When communities pass climate emergency declarations, they are taking an important step forward in combating the climate crisis. I believe that a fitting next step for the city after following up on the climate emergency is supporting the middle schoolers' land conservation goals. As you all know, land conservation and climate change are 2 connected issues. Conserving forested land helps combat climate change by allowing mature trees to continue to sequester carbon. Therefore, conserving this land with city support would set a precedent that the city will walk the walk when it comes to the declaration and its dedication to fighting climate change. Second, I think it's important to remind ourselves that this initiative is happening because middle school students in this city are concerned for their futures. Like I said when I spoke up in support of the Climate Emergency Declaration, the burden of advocating for urgent climate action and holding decision makers accountable consistently falls on marginalized communities and youth because they're the groups with most at stake when it comes to the climate crisis. I've seen firsthand this places on youth. They should be spending their free time relaxing or pursuing hobbies. They now instead spend their evenings testifying at city council meetings, attending a climate justice meeting, or strategizing how they can play a part in tackling this huge crisis. They frequently experience burnout and anxiety due to this. Speaking for myself as a 24-year-old living in Saco, between the climate crisis and Southern Maine's forested spaces becoming quickly overdeveloped, it's scary to imagine what our community will look like in the next 10 years if climate and environmental issues are not prioritized. I believe that it is the responsibility of decision makers and adults to listen and help the generations who will be inheriting this planet by using the resources that are available to them. I'm hoping the city will be able to answer the middle schoolers' call to action on this, especially with the Climate Emergency Declaration being recently passed. Thank you for reading this lengthy email and for all the work that you do. I know this I know that this is a complicated situation, especially in the context of a global pandemic, so I appreciate the thought and consideration that the City Council is giving this. Sincerely, Cassie Kane, again, Youth Engagement Director for 350 Main. And that was the one item I had. Thank you.
Thank you, City Administrator Keenrath. Open it up to public comment. If there's anybody who would like to speak before the City Council, please use the raise hand feature of the Zoom platform or *9 if you're calling from a phone. Again, that is use the raise hand feature of the Zoom platform or *9 and you'll be called upon to speak to the council. Barbara Coleman, you've been allowed to speak. You can go ahead and unmute and just identify your name and address for the record, please.
Barbara, 36 Buxton Road. People will question that, but I own property and all that up there. So I do have a little say in what Saco does. I am looking first at my screen, Mayor. Are these the 4 councilors tonight?
All councilors are present.
Okay, because I'm not seeing all councilors present.
All
Second,
councilors are present.
okay. Second, and I couldn't get logged in quick enough to hear whether or not you pulled the agenda items that we talked about earlier.
Comment section of tonight's agenda. We have not reached the consent agenda or action items tonight.
Don't you usually pull your agenda items before you do public comment and all that?
No.
Isn't that proper procedure?
No.
Okay.
Following all the procedures.
Okay, so it's very hard to comment when I do not know if you're going to leave in there the disposition of foreclosed properties, which I gave a substantial amount of information to people, particularly the situation of the escrow account that is considered, and I'm going to use the word dead, but that's not the right word. It's a banking term, and I'm trying to think of it. It's when it's gone dormant. You do not keep that money. That money is to be sent to the Secretary of State. And why we are not sending that off, I do not know why. That's the proper procedure. Okay? And then council will know my answer upon whether or not this continues to go further with the other foreclosed properties, because I sent you information. I sent you policies. I never heard back from, so I could not write an appropriate response to be read as to what actions are going to be taken based on the policies in place. So council, there are policies. They are not accordingly taken care of. And that's where I'm going to leave it, because I will leave it for the city administrator to provide you that information. You can provide that information online yourselves by going to policies under administration. We're not properly doing our own procedures. Does that? So thank you for understanding that we need to bring up our policy from 2000 to current, and then there's a second policy there on properties as well, further down on the administrator's policy page. There's 2 policies that you have to look at that take into place. And by the way, the gentleman that is for $7,000, research shows he lives in the town. So why would we be discounting? And he owns a $450,000 house. Why would council write off $7,000? It's not like house. So that is what I have to say. I didn't hear back, so I figured I would type in and have you be thinking before it gets there to what goes on. And if it goes on, then I'll give everybody everything I have. Is that fair? I'm done, Mayor.
Thank you, Barbara.
I don't know how to hang this up.
If there's anybody else who would like to provide public comment to the city council, please use the raise hand feature of the Zoom platform, and you'll be unmuted to speak to the council. Up next, we have Susan Littlefield. Susan, please go ahead and unmute. Council.
Okay, I did think I didn't put the subject line correctly, so it might be why it didn't get picked up today. I'm one of the board members of Saco Valley Land Trust who's been working in the Saco Middle. So far received from individuals and businesses, and also 2 grants, which is pretty impressive. Another grant's been recently provided. However, seeking fund projects is highly competitive. Project belongs was T as in the project is seeing the use of the land and encroachment using our own funds. The land in question, I know they were from the locked. We 3 parcels over there. One is the site, east side of Watson Mill Road, and then we own 2 properties on the west side, and the parcel in question here abuts those. So our plan was to start at Watson Mill Road and run a trail through our 2 properties and then onto the Grace Lane property. So it actually, for us, isn't. Also, I wanted to discuss a little bit about, we did not have an appraisal yet, but we, I'm sorry, I gotta find my place here. But most conservation projects, especially in southern Maine, have our land that must be working owners, and so it does kind of affect the price that we're willing to pay. So that's my clarify.
If there's anybody else, council, use the Zoom platform or *9, and you'll be allowed to, you'll be unmuted to speak to the council. Seeing no hands raised and nobody seeking recognition. Moving on to item 7, approval of the minutes from September 14th, September 21st, and October 5th. And I would like to Copeland, city clerk, to clarify some of those minutes of the minutes in a better format. So for formatting purposes, thank you very much, Councilor Copeland. Is there a motion to approve the minutes? Is there a second?
Second.
Motion's been second by Councilor Archer. Any discussion? A roll call vote. Councilor Archer,
Aye.
Councilor Purdy, Councilor Gunn,
Yes.
Councilor Minthorn,
Yes.
Councilor McPhail,
Yes.
Councilor Johnston.
No.
Motion to approve the minutes. Agenda item for mayor's appointments to Arts Commission of Carol MacAllister and Shannon Sidelinger. And then item B is the, is there a motion to? Is there a second?
Second.
Motion's been moved by approve the consent agenda, second by Councilor Fail. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, roll. Archer,
Aye.
Councilor Purdy,
Yeah.
Councilor Gunn,
Yes.
Councilor Copeland,
Yes.
Councilor Minthorn,
Yes.
Councilor McPhail,
Yes.
and Councilor Johnston.
Yes.
7-0. Moving on to item 9, action items. We have item A of the new bill and code enforcement director, and that is Councilor Purdy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Kwame has spent 18 field and 13 years with the city of Saco, including the last 3 as the Deputy Director of Code Enforcement Department. David has shown dedication to his field and will make a great leader for this department. Be it ordered that the City Council confirm the City Administrator as October 19, 2020. I move to approve the order.
Second.
Councilor Purdy. Before we get to a discussion, I just want to thank David Toomey for his to the Saco and in his new role should the council decide to approve that. With Councilor
Confidence, yes.
Purdy,
Yes.
Councilor Gunn,
Yes.
Yes.
Councilor Minthorn, Councilor
Yes.
and Councilor Johnston.
Yes.
Thank you very much. 7-0. Relations to Dave Toomey, Code Enforcement Director. Item B, 1 reading amendment to the employee policy. Councilor Minthorn.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. A city vehicle policy was included in the employee handbook. This city regarding the author of city vehicles and definitions for some of the terms used in the policy. This document was reviewed by legal counsel 2020. Policy regarding city vehicles and further update the employee handbook to include this version.
Motion's been made. Councilor Copeland, any discussion? Seeing no. Roll call vote. Councilor Archer,
Aye.
Councilor Purdy,
Yes.
Councilor Gunn,
Yes.
Councilor Copeland,
Yes.
Hale, Councilor Johnston.
Yes.
Motion
Yes.
passes
Councilor
7-0.
Minthorn, yes.
You, Councilor Minthorn, my apologies.
You did, thank you.
Motion passed. Thank you very much, everyone. Second, budget amendment number 1, Saco Middle School land purchase. This was slated for a councilor who's not in favor of. Is there a councilor? Is there a councilor willing to make the motion? Seeing no councilor willing to make the motion dies. Moving on to item D, write-offs for fiscal year 2020. Councilor Archer.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. 1 second. is a standard practice for the finance director to request council approval on writing off amounts owed to the city, especially with regards to taxes. The items recommended for write-off have been deemed uncollectible, and therefore we are recommending the council approve removal of these items from our books. Be it ordered that the city council authorize the finance director to write off the delinquent amounts for the identified persons and entities and remove them from the books. I move to approve the order.
A motion's been made by
Second.
Counselor Archer, second by Counselor Minthorn. Any discussion? Counselor Archer and then Counselor Copeland.
Yes, rather than read it, admit it from the motion, I decided I wanted to do it this way. I request that we remove the Saco SMHC walk-in clinic, the fees of this in this document. One, I also received email, and I believe the rest of the council did too, that they were withdrawing this request. However, it does need to be formally moved through an amendment. So
Second.
Amendment for the false alarm fires of $2,250.
Second.
Motion's been, amendments have been made by Counselor Archer, second by Counselor Johnston to remove the SMHC walk-in clinic false alarm fines from 2015 to 2018 in the amount of $2,250. Any discussion on the amendment only? Counselor Copeland, is your hand up on the amendment only? Thank you. On the amendment only, seeing no hands raised and nobody seeking recognition on the amendment. Roll call vote. Counselor Archer?
Aye.
And Counselor Purdy?
Yes.
Counselor Gunn?
Yes.
Counselor Copeland?
Yes.
Counselor Minthorn?
Yes.
Counselor McPhail?
Yes.
Counselor Johnston?
Yes.
Amendment passes 7-0 to remove SMHC walk-in clinic false 15 to $2,250. Back to the main motion, Counselor Copeland.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The parcel that, the write-off that Barbara Coleman was talking about in the amount of $7,196.83. I understand from looking at this that it's the landscape company. I don't know if they're incorporated or what their structure is. Has the attorney had an opinion on this, whether we can go after the individual or not?
City Administrator Cainrath. Do we have an answer for that question?
Councilor Copeland, can you just repeat which item?
It's action item D, exhibit item 2. It's the personal property write-offs. Coastal Construction and Landscape, care of J. Michael Grover. Sorry. 57 Spring Hill Road. The entity is no longer in business, so the city cannot collect on the balance due. But that's a state that it's been vetted for legality.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'm not positive. I know Finance Director Gwen Salas is standing by if we could promote her, if she has any clarification there.
Okay. She's not a lawyer, but I'll
Good evening. Thank you, Brian, for the opportunity to discuss this review the nature of personal property taxes with our certified tax collector, Denise Pendleton, and she confirmed that per state law, you cannot levy personal property taxes against an individual. They are levied against the corporate entity. I'd certainly send this item over to Tim Murphy for a second opinion if that would make council feel more comfortable.
I'm just looking on the I'm looking on the main Secretary of and it says administratively suspended. So I would like a legal opinion on this.
Okay.
Just walk away from $7,000 if they're not entitled to, and we should be sure one way or the other.
Okay.
Thank you, Councilor Copeland. Any further discussion? Councilor Archer.
Yes, I'm just seeking clarification. Are we still voting it on this, or is Councilor Copeland requesting that this gets removed? Or, because I prefer, if we're going to remove it, to just table this one item, the rest, and just table this one piece that Councilor Copeland has identified.
It works for
Councilor
me.
Archer. Councilor Archer, are you making a motion?
Basically,
I'll make the motion to table.
I'm not interested in table. I'm sorry, I was still speaking, Councilor Copeland. What I was asking is, did Councilor Copeland request that this item gets removed from this current one, and then we table that one item and still move forward on the rest?
Councilor Archer, that's not what I heard. What I
Okay.
heard Councilor Copeland say is she would like to have a legal opinion on this. That's what I heard.
And that's true, and I don't think we should be voting facts.
Councilor Copeland, you're free to make a motion to table and request that this get put before a legal opinion. Is that a motion you'd like to undertake?
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a
Second.
motion's been made by Councilor Copeland, second by Councilor Johnston, to table the item and ask for a legal opinion. Any discussion on the motion to, no discussion. Roll call vote. Councilor Archer?
Aye.
Councilor Purdy?
Yes.
Councilor Gunn?
Yes.
Councilor Copeland?
Yes.
Councilor Minthorn?
You're muted.
Yes.
Councilor McPhail?
Yes.
And Councilor Johnston?
Yes.
Motion to table passes 7-0. We will seek a legal opinion, and this will be back before the council following the legal opinion. Moving on to item D, disposition of foreclosed property, and that is Councilor Archer.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. The city foreclosed on several properties on January 23rd, 2020. Many attempts have been made to get the property owners to either pay off the matured tax liens or enter into option agreement and remain current with them. All attempts were unsuccessful. Be it ordered that the city council authorize the finance director to write off the delinquent tax amounts for the identified properties and remove them from the tax roll, and further move to authorize the city administrator to dispose of the tax acquired properties if applicable. I move to approve the order.
Motion's been made by Councilor Archer. Is there a second? Second by Councilor Minthorn. Discussion? Finance Director Salas, so I'm looking at the report, and I'm guessing, did you prepare this report or this list of real estate foreclosed properties?
Yes, I did.
Thank you. So under 93 Pleasant Street, the first one, it says owner is working to pay down taxes and owed and pays monthly. Just so everyone's aware, when you say no action, you're not looking for that to be foreclosed upon. You're
Correct. So
looking for no action.
Yeah, technically properties are automatically foreclosed. The second step that might happen would be if the city were to take ownership, but I'm not recommending that in this list in any case. So there's a couple that we have to write off because the property has since been destroyed. Most of these say no action or wait. So the city wouldn't be property or
Like, just so everyone's clear, it looks like there's one property that the council is looking to write off, and that's at 8 Gallon Drive, a trailer that was destroyed, and a new trailer has since been put in its place. $165.78 that you're looking to write off. But The remainder have no action or wait. Am I correct there?
That's correct. Thank you.
Okay. And are we following our policies? It was alluded to by a member of the public that we're not following our disposition of tax acquired property write-offs. Are we following our policies related to this?
In this case, there's no disposition of tax property, so there's no violation of policy. Real estate property foreclosure disposition is governed by state law. There are some very dated city policies, collections and disposal of personal property. Again, we're not, the personal property is addressed in the prior motion, and that's been put on hold for pending legal counsel. We haven't, the personal property collection policy is very dated. It hasn't been followed. I haven't taken a close look at it, but we're not disposing or collecting on personal property as part of this motion. We are following state law when it comes to the foreclosed properties and not disposing of anything. So there's no policy in this particular motion. However, what I will do is just take a quick look at those collections and we look to do collections or disposition in future council action, that either those policies are followed, or if they're so dated that they no longer really apply to how the city does business, that we're updating those. And that's something that I'm looking to do in November. It's certainly on my agenda.
Hi, Philip.
Is there a counselor who would be willing to make a motion to table this along with the write-offs so that Finance Director Salas can make sure that we are following our policies? And then if not, if we need to amend our policies, we can do that. Is there a counselor willing to make that motion? Councilor Archer, thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Johnston. Motion at table, no discussion. Roll call vote. Councilor Archer,
Aye.
Yes.
Councilor Gunn,
Yes.
Copeland,
Yes.
Minthorn, Councilor McPhail,
Yes.
and Councilor Johnston.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion at table 7-0. So we will see that back when we see the write-offs come up again, perhaps next meeting. That concludes the action items. We are now at item 10, new business. We have an A, council goals and update. This kind of got pushed back from the original thought process of having it in the middle of the summer, but with COVID, it got pushed back. So with that, we will hear from City Administrator Cainrath about where we are with our goals. City Administrator Cainrath.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. As you know, we did our goals exercise in January of this year, and we did want to provide an update of where we are despite the pandemic and the things we've accomplished this year. So for the public, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and just put this document up for so starting with we did our goals, then we also had sort of a subcategory or focus area. So our first area was growth and innovation. Our goal was to guide and promote best practices in planning, land use, and economic development. So in this category, we've seen a number of things happen since January. We've, of course, launched our COVID-19 Emergency Loan Fund to help local businesses with COVID-19 impacts. The program provided low-interest loans for up to $10,000 to small businesses, half of which may be forgiven after 5 years. And we have exhausted the fund and issued loans to 19 small businesses in Saco during this pandemic. The Keep Maine Healthy 2020 Municipal COVID-19 Awareness Campaign, the city received a $116,000 grant there. The COVID-19 temporary outdoor retail and restaurant use policy was adopted, and as you know, we just extended that a few weeks ago for another month, and that's been heavily utilized by our downtown businesses. I think they've been very, very appreciative of that policy. We had the sale of our former public works facility at 351 North Street. The closing is slated for mid-November at a sale price of $2.3 million. We managed the RFP and sale of 90 Temple Street. We developed an annual TIF financial report, a one-stop document highlighting the project's budget and credit enhancement agreements. The market analysis and action plan matrix project began in late March and schedule was modified due to COVID. Draft report has been created, public boards and commission surveys conducted. Final report slated for completion mid-December. Our downtown facade program was launched, and to date, one grant was awarded to the Horton Insurance Agency located at 224 Main Street, but I think there are others interested in potentially in the works. Our zoning ordinance revision you're all aware of, headed to planning board public hearing October 26th, will be October 26th, and it will then head to the city council for public hearing later in the fall. Our comp plan 2021, Stantec Consulting has been hired, a process has begun. Long range planning committee will be created in December, and we anticipate that project to take about 18 months. So our second goal that we prioritized was environmental sustainability. Goal: implement resiliency measures to foster environmental sustainability and mitigate the effects of climate change and coastal erosion. So recently, as you know, we passed the climate change resolution brought forward by the Saco Middle School students. We have also recently just voted to send a letter of support to the Army Corps of Engineers endorsing the Plan 6 option with the obvious intended effect of reducing and mitigating the impacts of beach area. Department alternatives analysis facilitated by the US EPA kicked off on September 22nd with active participation from both staff and the appointed citizens group. The agenda included establishing some community priorities along with breakout sessions. The EPA was very impressed with the engagement of the community and has decided to move forward with the full 10-step augmented alternatives analysis process. So quality service was our next goal. Invest in technology, infrastructure, and resources to ensure sustainable service delivery and facility maintenance. Energy utility tracking software for water, gas, electricity across all city facilities. We recently entered into that. Utilization of new sound technology for rapidly identifying blockages in the sewer system. Optimizing the work order and GIS software access through new tablet data gathering apps and methods. And of course, our facilities division has quickly adapted to COVID-19 protocols with upgrades to cleaning systems, air handling equipment, public access controls to city facilities, and new programmable door lock systems integrated into multiple facilities. And again, just thank you to Don Roth and our whole facilities crew during the last 6 months. They have certainly been on the front lines of this. We appreciate their efforts, and all they do cannot be understated. So thank you again to them, and thank you for stepping up during this time. Financial stability next. Goal: ensure an equitable that offers diverse residential and commercial opportunities. Financial stability also incorporates many things going on, obviously, in our finance department. Some of those include department to implement online payment of parking tickets and permits, which will increase non-tax revenues. We went to RFP on our ambulance billing services to maximize transport revenue and reduce the impact of EMS costs on the tax base. We've digitized our accounts payable processes to improve adherence to written policies and procedures and reduce waste. We designed to allow the finance department to better. Next, we have transportation and transit. Goal: support an interconnected multimodal transportation system to accommodate community growth and meet service level expectations. So updates to the Saco Transportation Center front parking lot completed to accommodate the BSOOB transit. Pulse project and new operations hub, August of this year. Support electric bus charging station infrastructure and operations in calendar year 2021 with updates to rear parking area and restore front after rear area is complete. As you know, we entered into a new 3-year lease to keep flat office rent at the Saco Transportation Center for continued BSOOB transit multimodal transportation support with a 1-year reopener built in if necessary. Some upcoming items here with transit that are pending is continued increased financial support for BSOB transit operations through multi-year support agreement. Discuss Saco Transportation Center enhancement for multimodal operations. Finish our transit TIF and submit to state for approval, and transition transit-related costs to transit TIF overlay district. Next, we have transparency and engagement. Goal: foster interdepartmental collaboration, enhance transparency, and promote citizen engagement. So, our communications department has done a great job with keeping in touch with members of our community and continuing to find creative ways to enhance community outreach using a whole different number of platforms and outlets. Thank you very much to Emily and Andrew, our communications staff, for all that they've done in the past 6 months, as more and more has gone virtual. As you know, these meetings themselves are a testament to their work for us. So thank you to them for all of their efforts. And just mentioning here again, giving another plug, I'll be starting my open office hours events next week, actually, to encourage more public dialogue, more public discourse, and participation in their local government. Livable community, our next goal: enhance park infrastructure, community services, and opportunities for recreation. So when we look at enhanced park infrastructure, paving of the Eastern Trail, Main Street to Moody Street, the boardwalk on the Riverwalk, which was just completed, new playground at Chattahoochee Woods, new playground at Ryan Farm to be completed by October 26th, new bathroom facility at Foss Road Sports Complex, reclaiming our flower beds at the train station, fire department, police department, Jubilee Park, Pepperell Park, and Joe Riley Park. We've continued our top-notch maintenance of all of our parks and trails, of course, and we've teamed up with the Dyer Library to provide a storybook trail at Cascade Falls trail system. And the Saco Bay Trails built a new bridge at Horton Woods, watering station at the dog park, Don Roth facilities, and I believe Councilor Jody McPhail all involved in that effort. Service, we had of course, our senior meals program that ran for many weeks earlier this year. Thank you to our rec staff, all of our volunteers, elected officials, everyone who came out to help with that. That was a great success. It was really a model for everyone, for other communities. That's something, again, we should be really proud of. So our senior meals program, certainly first on the list for community service. We were the only department to offer a all-day, all summer long camp this summer in York County. Our exercise program outside of Foss Road. The Parks Department continues to make our city trees safe. Obviously, when storms come through, a number of trees always have a habit of coming down, and they do a quick cleanup and top-notch service there to remove them for the public safety. Provide excellent recreation programs for with enhanced COVID-19 also in place, and really the department that's really in many ways been on the front line of this. So thank you to Director Ryan Summer and everyone at Parks and Rec for making everything a success and making things safe over these past number of months. Our next goal, organizational excellence. The goal: enhance recruitment, retention, and professional development strategies to maximize service delivery. We have recently put together a listing of staff, professional development opportunities, and trainings that we'll be bringing forward as the COVID-19 restrictions ease. Some of these can be done online. We're hoping to do most of them as in-person sessions here at City Hall. So stay tuned for more on that. And as you know, in the budget this year, we do have a compensation analysis that's been budgeted that will be happening this fiscal year. An RFP will be going out shortly. Next, we have governance, evaluate city ordinances, policies, and the charter, and update or amend to reflect current and relevant standards. So policies, including our non-union personnel policy and employee handbook, are in the process of being reviewed. Further policy proposals will be brought forward to council in the near term, including vehicle use, which was just passed tonight. But you will see in the very near future also pandemic response, military leave, and educational assistance. We will also be having charter amendments being brought forward for council consideration later this year. So we have done quite a bit in looking at our policies, bringing forward new policies, updating policies, and we'll be taking a look at the charter later this year. So as you can see, despite the pandemic, we have been nose to the grindstone. We have accomplished quite a bit in the last 8 or 9 months since we set out with these goals. So I would like to thank of course, everyone involved, all of our city staff, elected officials, and all for making this policy, these policies and all of these things a reality, despite the times we find ourselves living in. So thank you. That's as of October 19th, 2020, every day. So happy having a discussion, sharing my screen. Turn it back over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, City Admin. Are there any council questions or comments? I would just like to echo what City Administrator Canrath said. I want to thank all the employees of the City of Saco, both the city side and school side, for doing everything they can during this pandemic. It's not easy, and the rules are changing. To be able to still meet the deadlines and accomplish goals in a critical year like this is exceptional work on behalf of all city staff. So, Council Archer? Any other hands? Okay, moving on to item 11, administrative update. City Administrator Canrath.
Starting off, we've received a number of citizens city. As you know, with the chapter process, this a planning board review, which will happen tomorrow night on these. There are 3 in particular, and once we have the planning board's recommendation, we'll come back to the council for there. I'd like to actually, I'll just say now, one council, lots of these you all shared considerations, so you guys can get a jump on which they're all down in Camp Ellis, I believe, all are waterfront. So that will be coming to us at some point in the near future, but I'll send that out to everyone. Some more notes on elections. I know the mayor hit on this under our agenda, but early voting, just as a reminder, at the City Hall auditorium is ongoing. Voters may also utilize the drop box on the Cutts Avenue side of City Hall as another. And just so voters know that ballot box is emptied by our city clerk staff each and every day, including weekends. So there shouldn't be any concern about your ballot, lingering in there over a weekend and something possibly happening. It is a very secure box, and it is empty each and every day by the clerk's office. So voters should feel very confident in using that box as well. And that's, again, located on the Cutts Avenue side of City Hall. We encourage, of course, all citizens to vote early if they cannot make it to the polls on Election Day. As was mentioned previously by the mayor, the city's polling place is moving to Thornton Academy, and we thank Thornton Academy for their cooperation and working with us on this matter. One concern, obviously, is that we're moving the polling week, so we will have adequate signage and staff at the community center, our old polling place, directing any voters who happen to show up there to the new polling place, Thornton Academy, in case that happens. Our communications team is also going to great lengths to get the message out to the public of this change. The clerk's office staff has also placed ads for the polling location change in the Courier going out Thursday, October 22nd and 29th, as well as in the Portland Press Herald. It will be seen there on October 24th and October 31st. We had some emails and questions on this, I know just today, but we will now be having Saturday voting hours at City Hall, 24th from 8:30. Again, at City Hall this coming Saturday, October 24th, 8:30 to noon. You can come and vote here at the City Hall auditorium. Also, we're going to be having extended hours until 6 p.m. here at City Hall in the auditorium on October 30th. So residents should feel free to utilize both of those times. Again, this Saturday, October 24th, 8:30 to noon, and also Friday, October 30th, will be open until 6 p.m. Extended hours here at City Hall. Just an update on the numbers. As of today, we have received 7,791 absentee ballot requests that have been issued. and we have had 2,912 ballots returned as of today. And of course, those change every day. Again, I'll be having my first open office hours event next, I think it's Thursday, October 27th, Tuesday, from 3 to 5 p.m. in the City Hall Auditorium. Please, all Saco residents, local business owners are welcome, encouraged to attend to share their thoughts and views, complaints, or concerns. Finally, I would just like to note that you may have noticed, but our City Hall clock tower is back in operation with, I think, pretty much the correct time, or pretty close to that. After a long wait for needed parts, our city facilities staff was able to get it back up and running. So we're thankful to have Saco back on time. So thank you again to facilities for that, and we're glad to see our beautiful historic clock tower back in action. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, City Administrator Kainrath. Any questions? Councilor Johnston?
Thank you. Just out of curiosity, who generally determines where polling places are? Like, whose purview does that fall under?
Well, I can say there were consultations, the mayor, myself, and of course, Rennie Menard at Thornton Academy, as well as all the stakeholders there. There was a meeting, and this was feasible, and we moved forward. So, Bill, I don't know if you want to chime in on anything further. I haven't been involved in a polling place change here before, but that was in a nutshell the process that happened here. And again, this is largely driven due to COVID concerns, getting a larger space, additional parking, et cetera.
Thank you, City Administrator Kainrath. Councilor Johnston?
Again, the question was who normally determines where these, polling places are located. So if I could get follow-up to that as to going forward, who makes these determinations? I'm curious as to who's, what entity is supposed to make that determination. That's all.
I believe the city clerk would make that determination, and she was involved in all the discussions that took place, and any meetings that took place she was involved with. And then she had to send out notification to the Secretary of State or
Correct.
Secretary of State to get approval to do so. But I believe that all election is within the purview of the city clerk.
All right, thank you. That's what I was looking for. Is if you can point me in the direction of a statue or something. Thank you.
Any further questions? Seeing no questions, we arrive at item 12, council discussion and comment. Councilor Archer.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to piggyback off of our city administrator talking about how many ballots that we've received so far. I just want to give a personal shout out, a thank you very much to our elected wardens, the elected clerks, and the volunteers that are helping us out. That is probably the highest we've probably had of absentee ballots, and I know that that adds a significant step. It's a step that's necessary, but then when the mail comes in, they have to then re-verify. So there's more steps to voting, which is perfectly fine by me. But I just wanted to let the election wardens, the elected wardens, the elected clerks, and their volunteers know that I appreciate their efforts.
Thank you, Councilor Archer. Any further discussion and comment? Councilor Johnston.
Thank you. I'm not really sure who tends to these, but on Main Street, there's several, I guess I'd refer to them as like cigarette waistband or waste cans on the poles down there. So I don't know who empties them, but they need to be emptied more regularly, as one recently caught fire and actually destroyed the box. So I don't know what department that goes to, but I'm just making those aware.
Thank you, Councilor Johnston. Any further discussion and comment? Seeing no further discussion and comment and no executive session for this evening, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Councilor Minthorn. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Archer. Any discussion? Roll call vote. Councilor Archer,
Aye.
Councilor Purdy,
Yes.
Councilor Gunn,
Yes.
Councilor Copeland,
Yes.
Councilor Minthorn,
Yes.
Councilor McPhail,
Yes.
and Councilor Johnston.
Yes.
Motion to adjourn passes at 7:31 PM. Again, everyone, thank you for all your efforts and all your hard work, and be well and stay safe.